Let's get more on the government's plans to be able to monitor the phone calls, emails, texts and website searches of everyone in the UK. It's under new legislation which has been drawn up. Ministers say they need the new powers to catch up with technological advances and help tackle terrorism and crime. But some have accused the government of extending its ability to snoop on ordinary people and say the move is entirely unnecessary. Well, joining me now is Freedom of Information campaigner and author of The Revolution Will Be Digitised, Heather Brooke. Thanks for coming in, Heather. The former Home Secretary David Davis has been telling BBC News today that the legislation already in power doesn't need to be changed. It's powerful enough. It allows the authorities to do this anyway. So what's different about this new legislation?
Well, we haven't seen the actual bill yet, but from what I've read and what it sounds like, this is not about giving investigators specific access to individual accounts. It's about trawling the entire, the entire digital landscape of all British citizens, and it seems to be taking away any aspect of probable cause, looking for people, We don't know what the criteria are on what they're going to be looking for people. It seems like a giant fishing expedition with very little oversight.
If it can be used to stop acts of terrorism, to stop criminality, great. I think what everybody's worry is that it gets abused. Who's monitoring the monitors, and can it be abused?
Well, it definitely can be abused. I think we've only got to look at the anti-terror legislation to see numerous examples where when you give the state so much carte blanche power and they don't have to account for themselves as to why they want to arrest people or why they want to hold people, it starts to be used in a political way, so that you can see that people are targeted not so much because they're criminals or terrorists. They are targeted because of beliefs that the government doesn't find popular, or that certain groups decide we want to, shut these people down. Environmentalists, we want to start, looking at them. And it's not. Is it actually effective? I don't believe we've seen evidence that mass industrial surveillance actually does anything to target specifically terrorism.
Yeah, presumably tip-offs and good old-fashioned detective work can be more
Exactly.
efficient. It must be very time-consuming to go through data and to monitor somebody's web searches and phone calls.
But I think what we're also forgetting is just the massive cost that's involved in this. And I would really, especially in this age of austerity, we're going to be basically putting an extra tax now on all internet innovators. So anybody that wants to start up a search engine, an email ISP, anything like this, they're going to have to be building in this sort of backdoor interception capability into their system, which is an extra cost on their business. And then also, they are going to be seen by their potential customers as being these kind of de facto intelligence gathering agents. So that's also going to be hurting their business, because they're not going to be able to get the trust of their customers. They're going to have this extra expenditure. So for all these reasons, it's generally seen as not very useful.
And how sophisticated is the criminal world and the world of terrorism? Presumably there's a lot of chat on the internet that's encrypted in code that nobody would understand anyway.
Yeah, and that's the case. As technology is moving so fast, and we think that, just by opening up the doors and allowing our state to look at what everybody's doing, well, instantly the criminal class will find ways to circumvent that technology. And they tried to do this, this happened with telephones. So all telephones actually have interception backdoors in them. And one of the strange unintended consequences is that during the Arab Spring, for example, a lot of those pro-democracy campaigners were actually tracked by the state through these telephone backdoors. And so in a sense, they were put in there by the American and European governments. And the end result of that interception capability was that an autocratic government in Syria, in Tunisia, in Egypt were able to use that to find and track pro-democracy campaigners.
When similar ideas have been proposed before, namely Labour 4 years ago, where they wanted a database of phone calls and website searches to be set up, and that was strongly opposed, do you think that this could be challenged legally? There's a lot of opposition to this idea already brewing. Is there a legal element here that could be challenged?
Well, the main issue that I would think campaigners would lock onto is what is the oversight for this massive surveillance power that we're going to give over to agents of government?
Because we're very close to kind of Chinese territory.
Well,
here,
exactly. I mean, I'm wondering, are we getting our policy ideas from the Chinese government? Because this is something that that they do. They are trying to roll it out, expand surveillance on the internet of emails, of telephone traffic, and the point of a democracy is that we are meant to assume that the citizen is innocent and has a right to privately communicate with each other without state interference, unless there's probable cause that they've committed a criminal act. And who is going to be issuing these warrants? Who is going to be doing the oversight that the warrants are issued for legitimate purposes and not for political purposes, or not just for fishing expeditions of no purpose at all?
Fascinating. Heather, Brooke, many thanks.
Thanks.